breaking news that I started the show with before, guys. Joe Biden, the story has come out that he could resign as soon as this weekend. This isn't from Joel Jammal. This is actually from Newsmax, and this is exactly what was actually said on Newsmax, where
Carl, according to multiple
it's
Democratic
going.
sources, this is happening all of a sudden. Everyone said it would happen gradually and then all at once, and that's what's happening. According to my sources, President Biden has agreed to step down as the Democratic nominee.
Oh, man.
It will happen as early as this weekend. A speech has been drafted for him. He will continue on as president, is his intention. He also will not, I'm told, endorse Vice President Harris as his successor. They're hoping that he will endorse an open process in which the convention will be open to Vice President Harris and a few other candidates in Chicago to pick the Democratic nominee for president. The belief is that Vice President Harris is already looking at potential running mates to go to Chicago with a full ticket, including one possibility, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, and perhaps the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro. Other possible candidates who are being talked about include Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, perhaps Gretchen Whitmer, and again, the vice president running. On the first ballot, the regular delegates would be allowed to vote under this agreement that's being talked about amongst the president and high-level Democratic officials. The regular delegates would vote on the first ballot. If there is no winner on the first ballot, the so-called super delegates would be allowed to vote on the subsequent ballot. This decision was reached, I'm told, all of a sudden because of the high-level pressure from Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and others, and as well as the decision of many of President Biden's top aides that there was no path forward for him, that he would not be able to win this election, win the general election, and therefore he's stepping in.
John, can you explain your not only your take, but this whole superdelegates thing, which I think the audience would appreciate?
So that clip we just saw was on Newsmax. Newsmax is to the right of Fox News in America. Now, why would they have this big breaking news? Well, I'll tell you why. The speaker was Mark Halperin. Mark Halperin used to be a really big deal at the Washington Post, which is very much part of the liberal establishment. And he got Me Too'd out of the Washington Post, so he's ended up on Newsmax. So the point of that story is to say, what he says is, I think we can probably bank it. It's probably factual. That means Biden's gone this weekend. Now, he might have a change of mind because, Joe and Hunter and Jill might change their mind. But it's looking... Look, when I went to bed last night, to put the favourite to be to put $1 on Joe Biden to be the Democratic nominee paid about $1.35. I wake up this morning, $1 on Joe Biden to be the Democratic nominee now pays $8. So that basically tells you it's over and out for Joe Biden. Now, Joel asked about what the superdelegates are. So in about a month, 3 weeks, we have the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah. 19th to the 22nd of August, which we'll be covering.
So the viewers will remember we had the primaries earlier this year. Now, they weren't very dramatic primaries because there was Joe Biden and just two other candidates. They didn't want RFK to run because he might have won, but they didn't have any debates. But Joe Biden officially won the primaries. And all those, what those primaries actually really are is they are an election in every state, in the Democratic Party in every state, to say who are our delegates to go to the National Convention. And they all voted for pro-Biden people to go to the convention. Okay. Now, but the superdelegates are people who aren't elected to the convention. They are people who get a free pass there. People like governors, former presidents, sitting senators. I think there's a large number of them. I think it's about sort of 700 out of about 4,000 delegates. Now, what they have said is, because they want to pretend that it's a democratic process for whoever the candidate is that they end up with, which I think good chance will be Michelle Obama. No one agrees with me, but we'll see. So the superdelegates, it's not really democratic that they have a vote. And Mark Halperin's sounded like a very well-sourced leak, was saying that they won't be voting in the first round, but they will be voting in the second round. And I believe the superdelegates are basically controlled by Barack Obama, and I believe that they will, at the end of it all looks like chaos right now, and it may well be chaos. But if it is a concealed plan, as we were talking earlier, I believe they'll end up with Michelle Obama.
This brings up two things. One, I mean, if Biden won't endorse Harris,
that's right.
I think it just shows that she's a DEI pick. Just had to put that in.
Yes.
The question I had, which hopefully you're familiar with, is they mentioned that they have a ballot. So does that mean they can only vote for the candidates on the ballot? So would that mean we would know in advance who's on the ballot? Because I'm with you. I think Michelle is probably their best option moving forward. But does she have to be on a ballot? And if she's on that ballot, would we know about it?
The thing about these rules is it's rules schmools. They can rewrite the rules. They can do whatever they want. Okay, they have a meeting. There's sort of a meeting going on informally at the moment. They have a rules committee meeting just before the actual convention, and the powers that be, which is the Obamas and David Axelrod, and the Clintons and the Obamas are best buddies these days. They will organise that. If they do have a preferred candidate and a preferred outcome, they will organise the rules so that if Michelle wants to run, she may run. Now, if Michelle doesn't run, I think she'll run in 2028. I think she's going to be making a calculation, what's our best bet. Look, I used to think it would be Gavin. I've been thinking for 4 years they're going to get rid of Joe Biden because he's in such a bad state. And I used to think it would be Gavin Newsom. But about a year ago, I came to the view. I said, look, if they get rid of Joe, then Kamala's going to want to step up, and she's a black female. So how are they going to bump her off for Gavin Newsom? That's when I thought, okay, maybe they'll go Michelle. So I looked into her life story.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that Biden isn't going to endorse Kamala Harris
Yes.
Makes Michelle Obama very plausible. I mean, what does he have to lose by simply endorsing the vice president? Nothing really. So why wouldn't he do it? Maybe because there's another plan cooking.
He might, yeah.
And yeah, obviously he's very close to Barack, and so it may make a lot of sense that in actual fact the plan is that Michelle's going to come in. The last polls I was looking at this morning showed that out of Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama has a better chance of beating Trump. And if, look, at the end of the day, they will pick whoever they think has the best chance of beating Trump. That's it.
Yep.
And the polls do consistently say that is Michelle Obama.
Yep.
Now, but there was a poll out 2 weeks ago saying Michelle beats Trump 50-39, but that poll today that you mentioned showed Michelle's in the best position, but I think she's still only level with Trump.
Yeah.
So
she's just
there's not much polling on Michelle.
Yeah.
If it's 50-50, the polling, I don't think Michelle will jump in. Barack's going to say to her, look, Michelle, if you run and lose, Trump's going to be able to walk around saying, I beat the Clintons and I've now beaten the Obamas.
Yeah.
So I think Michelle will run if it's looking likely that she'll win.
Yeah. Can I just quickly say, in the time that we've been talking since I said everyone go to X, it's doubled. There's 400 people on X now.
Right.
Guys, if you're on the other platforms, come to X. There's 1,000 of you on the other platforms watching live right now. Get off these platforms. Get over here. Go follow all of these guys, which I'll be sharing at the end of their actual tags. We need to get you onto X, off these platforms, onto my Rumble as well, so that we can't be actually censored. But I just want to say a huge thank you to you. What we're waiting for right now is I've got an eye right now. If we can bring up just the image, we're listening to. I'm watching all of these dancers in Milwaukee, just basically this whole time waiting for Trump to come out. In America right now, it's roughly about 8:30, 9 o'clock now. We're getting late into the night. Trump is going to imminently step on stage. I don't know exactly when, but I can give you a certainty it is within the next hour, so maybe even the next 30 minutes. So stay tuned. I will put that up as soon as we have it. But if you're listening, give this a share, get it out there. We're going to bring Trump up as soon as he comes on to accept the nomination. He'll probably speak for 30 minutes to an hour. But moving on, just to make sure you guys get this. If you didn't catch it from what John was saying, just like in 2016, what they did to Bernie Sanders when I was actually a Bernie bro back then, and I was supporting him. I saw how the delegate process was completely scammed and twisted. I saw exactly what happened with regards to the super delegates that Hillary was winning more of, but Bernie was kicking her ass with a lot of different votes. And it wasn't proportionate. Bernie won something like 16 million votes in the primary, and Hillary won 21 million, but there was all these skewing of the debates, with the questions being leaked out to Hillary Clinton from Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chair of the Democratic Party at the time. I remember all this stuff, case in point, because I was backing Bernie at the time. I was a
Really?
I was a Democratic
there's
socialist.
A confession,
so
viewers.
Many. You look, some of the viewers will be like, "Oh, you're saying it again," but no. Look, I was a Democratic socialist. I was actually better. I was a big fan of the Black Lives Matter before it became popular.
All the priests.
But this is the thing: 10% of Bernie Sanders voters ended up voting Trump because there is an element
Anti-establishment.
of anti-establishment authenticity. This was before Bernie got his third house once he sold out to Hillary, and he stopped criticizing the